Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast. The last time for a little while because we've had the last round of red ball games in the County Champion Cricket before we go for a bit of a white ball break. What else are you going to do on the 23rd of May when we're recording this? Get stuck into white ball and part the red ball. But we're going to look through it. We've got all the games from round 7 to go through. A bit of England watch going on with all the players kind of getting ready for this Island series and the Ashes that's going to come up. It is a huge summer for English cricket. Anytime the Aussies are in town, it is a big deal. Talking of big deals, Rich, how are you? How was your weekend?
Good, very good. Yeah, excellent weekend. Good band on Friday night. See Forest survival. Stay in the Premier League on Saturday. Happy days. Yeah, can't complain.
Can't complain. I like that. And there is a transition from Forest to County Championship cricket, being they play in red. That's all I've got.
Okay.
They play in red and we bowl with a red ball. So that's as good as you're going to get today.
Love it. That's perfect. What more do we want? I thought it was going to be that you could hear the songs and the goal going in at Trent Bridge cricket ground with Stuart Broad celebrating and singing along apparently while he was fielding. But that could have been a transition. But we're not going to talk about Notts yet anyway. We have to start at the top of the table, Rob. We're going to start with Surrey. The champs, the current league leaders, another convincing win. Kent have been beaten by 10 wickets. Rory Burns and Dom Sibley knocked off the 58-run target, secured themselves a 22-point victory. Kent's first innings, 278, could have been a lot worse without the efforts of all-rounder Joey Everson. 77 not out from him. Plenty of support from the tail as well, notably Wes Agars, 31. And number 11, Michael Hogan, 43, probably same amount of runs as his age, just about. They got 84 for that final wicket, and it was good, fun cricket to watch as well. I watched a bit of that one. Dan Worrell, Jordan Clark, Tom Laws, all taking 3 wickets. In reply, Surrey, steady start. But then the big story on this one has got to be Arafat. I'm going to apologise for the pronunciation of the name now. Buyen, do we know how we say that? Rob, I like the way you've been staying nice and quiet now, Rob. Thanks
No,
so much for your
when we
support.
used to do the IPL podcast, and Rich used to read through the squad names, and I just used to keep my mouth quiet because I'm not great at pronunciations anyway. So
yeah, I feel bad for that. So apologies. But I was tweeting loads about him. And it's just another brilliant story because he's come through the Saka Cricket Academy. For those who don't know, it's a South Asian cricket academy that was set up in response to the lack of opportunities players of in England and great UK players of South Asian origin just were not getting the same level of opportunities. And then I think there was 3 debutants in this round of County Championship across the league. He was one of them, and he bowled fantastically well. First wicket for him, Rob, was Ollie Pope. He got Jamie Smith next. He then got Ben Folkes, and he got Will Jacks after that. That's not a bad 4 for. That's 3 internationals and 1 future international. Excellent stuff. 4 for 65 or 20 overs for the 26-year-old. Looking good. Dom Sibley scored 20 at the top, but it was another tail that wagged, and Surrey got up to 362 with Sean Abbott top scoring with 78, whilst Gus Atkinson 55 not out. Surrey then removed Kent for just 141 with Tawenda Muyai 42 and Zach Crawley 34. Sneaking up the run scoring charts is Zach Crawley. Tom Laws with the pick of the bowlers, impressive 5 for 22 off just 9. Clark 3 for 36. Abbott 2 for 17. This left the old England pair of Sibley and Burns to see Surrey through to the win. Warwickshire not playing this week. This leaves Surrey well clear at the top, Rob. But the chasing Bears have a game in hand now.
When I started writing about this, I wrote about Kent's top order stabilising, maybe in the first innings. Maybe there was a little bit more from that middle order, but the fragile middle order, as I've now written, got blew away for 141 in the second innings, and you literally cannot stop Surrey at the moment. They've won 4 of the last 5, 4 of 6 this season. The top 6 is epic. They just continuously perform week in, week out. They're averaging 7.1 more per player for the top 6 players that's played in the games they've played in. So that's 42 runs a game. They're getting more out their top 6 in the opposition. That's going to put you in real good stead. And the bowlers are producing time and time again. 111 wickets at 23. Currently ranked 3rd in Division 1. Worrell 24 at 22.4 wickets per innings, 21% of the team's wickets. He's been absolutely outstanding. Sean Abbott's come in 16 at 27, real good energy, really good bowler. Watched a lot of him play in the Big Bash, but seeing him play white ball cricket, you can see why he's been in contention for the Australian team in previous years. But they've had more than that. They've had performances from Laws. They've had Gus Atkinson bowl well. They've had Jordan Clark just constantly chip in with 2 or 3 wickets every single time. They're stacked, they've got depth, and they it doesn't matter who's away. Kamar Roach is gone. Don't worry, we've got something to plug this hole. Kent bottom 2 where we expected them to be. Top 6 is averaging 25, ranked 8. Bowlers averaging 39, ranked last, and their average bowlers are averaging 11.35 less than the opposition bowlers in the games that they've played in. So it doesn't take a lot to work out why they are struggling, and it's the middle order. Compton and Crawley haven't been bad at all. Saying Crawley hasn't been bad, people will go, yeah, he's terrible. Crawley hasn't been bad. He's averaging mid-30s, is a mid-30 average sort of guy. Compton's getting out every 120 odd balls.
Right, let's keep it moving, Rob. Hampshire, we're on the south coast. They hosted Northants, and this was a solid and very, very impressive win for the hosts over strugglers Northants. A huge margin of victory, this one, an innings and 135 runs. Not much doubt in this one. Right, Hampshire batted first, only time they had to, posted 367 with captain James Vince being the mainstay with 95. Ever reliable Liam Dawson hit 63, Jack White 4 for 80 for Northants. In reply, first innings, Northants stumbled to 56 all out. Yes, 56, 5-6. Oi. Saif Zaib, the only man into double figure scoring 29. Pretty sorry effort, must say. Credit, though, obviously also goes to the Hampshire seam attack. Keith Barker, Rob's mate, took a lovely 4-13 off 12. They're the stats I like. Following on, Northants were dismissed for 176, still miles behind Hampshire's one and only total as they fell well short of making a game of this. Zaib once again top scoring with an unbeaten 57. Skipper Sam Whiteman 45. Rob Keogh 34. Only scores really we can talk about. With the ball, spin finally made a arrival with Liam Dawson taking 6 for 61 off 18. That's got to be up there with the best return of a spinner so far, isn't it? 22 points to Hampshire as they move up to joint second spot with Warwickshire. 3 points, go to bottom place Northants. Problems at Northampton, Rob.
Problems with Northampton. It's the bat, mate. Every single podcast for the last 7, I don't know why weeks are down there in the bottom right-hand corner, but my notes are the last 7 weeks they have been pretty average with the bat. They've had moments where Rob Keogh's saved them a few times. They've had moments where Vasconcelos looks like he's really starting to get going and looks superb. But as a unit, they're failing. They're averaging 17 this season as a team, ranked 10th. Openers are averaging 17, ranked 10th. And 3 to 7 in the orders, averaging 22, ranked 8th. You're not going to win many games of cricket playing like that. They're averaging 5.90 less per player than top 6 batters in Division 1. They're in a massive hole, staring relegation in the face. The bowling's been all right, but it's not all right enough to be able to support just a fumbling batting unit. Great to see Liam Dawson pick up 6. Big deal, getting good spin support in a high-class, real pace attack that they've got. Under the radar, one of the best spinners on the circuit time and time again. 52 wickets at 28 last year, 9 at 24 this year when used, and he's being used really well, used sparingly and used in accordance to the match situation. Spinners in Division 1 are averaging 42 this year. He's averaging 24. That's some return on 9 wickets, and I think he's got the 3rd most wickets for spinners in D1 behind Harmer and Leach.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a good all-round player as well. Ever reliable, we like to call him, don't we? It's a bit like we called Dean Elgar gritty. Liam Dawson is ever reliable. It has to be said all in one go every single time. Let's keep it going again. Middlesex hosted Somerset at Lords, Rob, and this one, Somerset, another innings win. They won by an innings and 13 runs, an excellent win, their first win of the season. Somerset, like Hampshire, got the game underway with their one and only innings, posting 404. George Bartlett got his 7th first-class 100, finishing 121. Tom Abel batted well for 77. Funny one, this. I watched a bit of this one, and Somerset it was Abel and Bartlett had only just come to the crease, and it was like, oh, they're in a bit of bother here. I flicked on about an hour later. Oh, they're still going strong. Another hour later, they're still going strong. So this was great to see for Somerset. Tom Kohler-Cadmore, 68, Lewis Gregory, 42, and Matt Henry, bowler, 40 runs for him. Solid contributions. With the ball, Ryan Higgins. We're always talking about Ryan Higgins here. Led with 4 for 74, whilst Ethan Bamber took 3 for 102. First innings reply, Middlesex ended with 175. John Simpson, the keeper batter, top scored with 57 not out. Matt Henry, the Kiwi seamer, 5 for 45 for him. Is he an all-rounder now? That's a big question. Following on, the hosts were eventually dismissed inside 73 overs for a slightly improved 216. Mark Stoneman, 60, the only score of any real note, although there were plenty throughout the order that made starts. And I'm slightly annoyed by the amount of starts in the 20, so I'm not going to mention any names there. It's not. Craig Overton's turn for a 5-wicket haul, though. 5 for 46 for him off 19.2 overs. A very impressive performance from a man outside looking in at the England setup at the moment. But with injuries piling up, this is a very timely showing for Craig Overton. Siddle, 3 for 57 for him, whilst England spinner Jack Leach claimed 2 for 41 to go with his first innings, 2 for 22. Sorry, I should have said that in a different way. A 2 for 22. Marvellous effort there from Jack Leach. Very welcome 23 points for Somerset, whilst Middlesex ended with just the 2 points. You cannot say 2 for 22 without doing a Richie Beno.
You can't. You can't. It's impossible, mate. It's impossible. Just like Middlesex is getting a big score in the first inning. Sorry, Middlesex fans, but it's true. Just time and time again this year, we come on the pod and we go, they were 4 for 49, 5 for 70, and Ryan Higgins saved them. Ryan Higgins couldn't even save them this time. Like player of the month for April, it's getting a little bit too much. Just to put it in context, how poor they've been. The top 6 are averaging 21, which is ranked 10th in the division. Against a match average, their performance plus, so 100 is, hey, you average exactly the same as what the top 6 match average is for the games you played in. Theirs is 79, so they're 21% worse. That's a huge amount to catch up with. And they've done it twice because their bowling attack has been good. Ethan Bamber's been good. Toby Rowland-Jones has been good. But there's only Higgins averaging 40 and above. Stoneman and Robson, I think, have both over the last 2 or 3 weeks started to show glimpses. But they're the only team in Division 1 without any centuries from the top 6 players this year. 67% of the top 6 dismissals have been for less than 20. The league average is 58. Generally, that number's about 52, 53. So they're way off the pace there. And incredibly, in terms of scoring more than 50, dividing by how many times you've been dismissed, 12.31%. League average is about 20%. Generally, a decent top 6 batter is about 24, 25%. So they're just way off, mate. Just really far off from where they need to be. Somerset will be stoked. Somerset will be stoked with the win. They needed a win. Their batting's performed okay for them this year, and there was a great comment on YouTube talking about the openers. And on our Twitter, Leading Edge Pod, we produce graphics and stuff like that. One of them called out there was talking about which teams' openers are doing really well, which ones middle orders are letting them down, and you had Notts all the way down here where the openers were fantastic and 3 to 6 were really poor. Kent were very similar. Somerset have been the opposite, and they've chopped and changed with the lineup. Like Sean Dixon, great asset coming in from Durham, not scored a run, playing second team cricket, red ball cricket. Their top 6 is their openers are averaging 17 this year, 9th in the division. That's been the issue with the batting. The middle orders actually held them together pretty strong. Interesting, no real mention of Jimmy Rue this week.
No.
Didn't really get going. No big scores for last week. He was the top run scorer in the country at that stage. Question on YouTube was about his strike rate, and in jest we were saying, hey, he needs to add 20 to his strike rate to be in contention for England, which is absolutely fine. He probably actually does. But incredible player, got nice fluency, looked really solid at the crease, great array of strokes going on. Strike rate is 46 this year, and it was 39 last year. So for a young player, it's really about, can you score any runs? Yeah, you can, and then all the other things can come. So definitely a star for the future. If that strike rate's about 55, 60, like, it becomes it's a sure thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's
only 55, 60 during this era, like what we're trying to do with Test cricket at the moment. Any other era, can you score any runs? That's the question.
Yeah, the maturity he's showing by being able to bat the amount of time he's batting and batting the amount of balls he's facing is incredible, isn't it? It's something that cannot do anything other than help him as he goes forward, and he will. It is a given that he will play for England the way I see it. Strike rate in this era with McCullum and Stokes is a question mark, but Johnny Bairstow's not going to be around forever. Sneaky old Johnny Bairstow, no longer young Johnny Bairstow, is he? Just to give a name, Darry Plumden, that was the comments on YouTube, so we appreciate those comments. One more game in Division 1, Rob. Notts Essex, a draw. No more impressive victories like the rest of the teams we just spoke about. This one was a draw. And it was a game that didn't really move along at any real pace initially over the first 3 days, and it sort of came to life after tea on the 4th. But Notts were eventually set a target then of 219 in 39 overs to chase after tea on the final day. It was a welcome but slightly surprising declaration. And whilst Notts couldn't reach the target, the game meandered to a draw in the end. Credit should go to the teams for attempting to at least go for the win. This one started with Essex scoring 298 with Alistair Cook 73 and Tom Wesley 66 top scoring. Wickets for Notts were shared between their trio of frontline seamers, Brett Hutton again, 4 for 69, excellent. Dane Patterson, 3 for 48, and England man Stuart Broad, 3 for 53. Notably for Broad, he bowled 20 overs in both innings. I wonder if that was the cap he was given. It just seemed quite such a round figure. I do wonder. In reply, Knox posted 442 with Matt Montgomery, the 23-year-old South African-born batter, hitting his second first-class 100, first of the year, an excellent 177. Only one run shy of his previous 100, 178. That is not a bad habit if you only score big hundreds. Ben Slater and Joe Clark both hit 57, while Sam Cook for Essex took 3 for 58, and it was nice to see Matt Critchley, Rob, get a bowl. He is an all-rounder. To remind us of his leg spinning skills, 3 for 33 off just 10.2 overs. Essex then set about their second innings, 144 behind at this rate, and it was batting at a rate that suggested they weren't really looking to manoeuvre, get the game to a win. But they kept going and going and going with the same pair, Cook and Wesley, both making big scores. Frustratingly for both of them, though, falling short of the hundreds. Wesley going for 95, making him a leading run scorer now in Division 1. And batting legend Sir Alistair Cook being caught behind off Lyndon James for a heartbreaking 99. A Trent Bridge 100 still elusive. It's about the only ground, or certainly the only test ground he's not at 100 at. So he got close twice in this one and very, very close. Dan Lawrence made 52 as well. We should mention that. Notts reduced Essex to 8 down by tea on the final day with a score on 362 with debutant Calvin Harrison taking 3 for 52. Little spinner he is, looks a nice player, whilst Lyndon James 3 for 52. One of those is incorrect, but they both got 3 wickets. Anyway, the declaration came and both teams set to work on trying to win the game. Essex made early in Road Zone, Notts 12 for 2, and then 3 for 50 when Montgomery was removed for 22. After that stumbling start, Notts were only really ever going to try and bat it out then, weren't they? Joe Clark there at the end, 42 not out, alongside skipper Mullaney. 2 wickets each for Cook and Harmer. Not superior 13s mean they took 11 points from this draw, while Essex left Nottingham with 7.
Notts are going to be pretty happy, to be fair. 2-2-2. They go Richie with no Richie accent, but trying. 2-2-2, fourth in the table as well. That's pretty good considering the first game they were left behind at the races, and Essex, the team that I said would finish topper. They've won 1 all season, so interesting to see how it goes. Sir Alistair Cook, interesting one. A lot was made about him trying to get this century at Trent Bridge. Sure, it didn't actually bother him. He's just going out for a bat on any other day. It just bothers everyone else watching the game. But 4th game of County Championship cricket at Trent Bridge, an average of 32, 250s, all coming in this game. And interesting enough, Test cricket, he's played there 11 times, 397 runs at 22, with only 150 coming in the 2013 Ashes. So not a happy hunting ground for Sir Alistair Cook as well. Matt Montgomery is such an interesting character. Only 15 games deep into his career. 177, 178 versus Durham in the last game of the season last year as well. He eventually got out to Matty Potts, but that's a damn good bowling attack to go and score 178 against. Only got 3 scores of 50 and above, and 2 of them have been for 170. So it averages 43.93 in his career in the county championship. So it's what you do when you get in. Say it every time. If you get in, you get past 20, you go on and score 100, you're going to have a cracking average. If you get past 20 and you're always getting out in the 30s or 40s, you're probably going to be looking for another job in a few years.
Yeah, absolutely. Talented young player. From all reports of people that were over there before going to watch a bit of football, it was an excellent innings by him as well. So a player of real promise. Only in the team because Tom Moores is still out with a broken finger, isn't it? Therefore, Joe Clark's taking the gloves, opened up a gap at the top of the order. Ben Duckett rested in that one as well. That's why we've not mentioned him. He's getting ready for a bit of Test cricket. So that's Division 1 in the books so far. Surrey way on top on 104 points. Warwickshire a game less on 79. Hampshire on the same points. Then we've got Notts, Somerset close behind. Essex on 60. Middlesex 50. Lancashire without a win. The only winless team on 46. All they've done is draw so far. Kent is second bottom on 43 and Northants on 38.
Nice. Let's roll to Division 2.
Division 2. Let's start it with, like we've done in Division 1, and as is the case with Surrey, league leaders, Durham maintained it as well with a really, really solid win yet again, beating Gloucestershire in Bristol by 125 runs, leaving 29 points clear of second place Sussex now. Surely Durham are playing Division 1 cricket next year, Rob. Graham Clark was the main man for Durham in the first innings. He hit 100 as his team totaled 445. A really nice story of Graham Clark. Plenty of others contributed with Baz DeLeader 65, Scott Borthwick 53, Alex Lees 41, Bellingham 40, Ollie Robinson 38, whilst Paul Coughlin was a not-out man 59 off just 52 balls. Gloucestershire spinner Zafar Gohar ended with 4 for 130 off 32 overs. Quick word on Clark. First 100 in the county championship for him for 6 years. A real restart for him in red ball cricket under their coach Ryan Campbell. In reply, Gloucestershire scored 262 with Ben Charlesworth hitting 71 at number 3, whilst Aussie opener Marcus Harris got 52. Extras were third with 40. Kiwi spinner Ajaz Patel, very good bowling for him. He's just arrived, isn't he? This is his second game replacing Matt Kuhneman after Matt Kuhneman replaced Todd Murphy. The spinner merry-go-round continues. 513.
I think you're missing a Matt Parkinson thrown into the middle as well.
Yeah, he was chucked in on loan as well to replace Todd Murphy before Matt Kuhneman turned up. So just the fourth spinner used this year for Durham. England seamer Matty Potts 3 for 43 in 19.2 overs, bowling well again. Durham then rattled along to 272 for 4 before the declaration. Opener Michael Jones battered through the innings for an unbeaten 121 off just 148 balls. Lees continued his run of steady scores though with 40. Does Alex Lees ever get out for less than about 30 at the moment? I think every game, but I think you could probably put a little. You have to look at the stats, but it feels like his lowest point is 30, but he hasn't got past probably 60. He's just consistently average at the moment. But so anyway, I digress. Ollie Robinson, rapid 67 for him off 36 balls, and a knock that included 3 sixes. Love that. This set up a 426 run target for Gloucestershire, which they fell 125 runs short of. An excellent effort. They'll be relatively pleased, I think, with that, despite defeat. Marcus Harris carried his bat for the entire innings with 122 not out. Ex-England man James Bracey scored 50. He's starting to just chip away with a bit of form at the moment, whilst bowler Josh Shaw scored 40 at number to go with his useful first innings of 37 not out as well. Matty Potts, another 3 for, whilst Ajaz Patel, 10 wicket performance, 5 for 96. As I said, Durham 23 points, Gloucestershire still without a win, took 4.
Alex Lees. Okay, so I've quickly just gone leadingedgecricket.com. There's a county championship statistics dashboard that gives you every player every season from 1890 through to 2023. Cheap plug in. Alex Lees, 391 runs at an average of 39. Balls per dismissal, 55, which is 22 less than his career average and 70 less than it was last year. Averaging 20 less as well. But strike rate of 70 this year. That's the big difference. He's really buying into Bazball, trying to work his way back into the team. Batted 10 times this year. 6 times he's got 30 and above. 2 times he's got 50 and above. Been out between 30 and 49 4 times. So you're right. And only twice he's been dismissed for less than 20. So really good consistency is dismissals for less than 20 is 20%, which is incredible. That's normally about 52, 53% for a player. So doing awesomely well. Durham, best team in Division 2 by a country mile. Really wanted promotion last year, not quite there. This year they're averaging 37 with the bats, 6 centuries. They're ranked number 1 in Division 2. And the bowlers averaging 26 this year, 5.51 less than the match average. And they're getting it done with spin as well. 25 wickets to spinners, 15% of the team's wickets, which is the highest in the country, an average of 28.28. They are exceptional, playing exceptional cricket. Won 4 of the last 5, and you just expect them just to keep going and going and going. Will the international season hit them hard? Potentially. But if they've got Ollie Robinson, who I am a big fan of, 465 runs at an average of 46.50, strike rate of 88, and Jones at the top, who plays Scotland T20 cricket, does an excellent job for them. I'm just calling them out because the 2 players that I really like watching, but the fact is they're all performing and putting themselves in a hell of a position. They'll lose Potts for the second half of the summer, potentially, but I can't see them slowing down.
No, I mean, you've still got Bryden Carson there, you've got Ben Rain, you've got others, haven't you? I mean, the spinners, Matt Kuhneman was probably the best performing spinner in county cricket before his injury. Ajaz Patel's just rocked up, and in his second game, he takes 10 wickets. They seem to be getting performances where they need it, and the batting card, just everyone's performing. Scott Borthwick's there, David Benningham's there, who was one of the leading runs, probably was the leading run scorer in county cricket a couple of years ago. So they are just chocker with really, really good players, and they will keep that train rolling, I'm sure. Right, Worcestershire, Leicestershire, Rob. We're at New Road. Worcestershire won this one, squeaked past Leicestershire, and won by 3 wickets. A game of poor totals. But Worcestershire did find form at the right time to chase down a target 271 to secure this 3-wicket win. Up first, then Leicestershire 173. Colin Ackerman top scoring 52. Chris Wright, the bowler, helping them along from number 9 with 30. Joe Leach even 3 for 45, and Matthew Waite 3 for 17 in the wickets for Worcester. Worcestershire responded with a shocking effort. 83. Ed Pollock scoring 30 of them. Chris Wright took 5 for 32, whilst Josh Davey 2 for 26 on loan from Somerset. and Wian Mulder 2 for 11. Leicestershire then decided they were going to pretty much do the same as what they did in the first innings, and this time they got 180. Lewis Hill top scored a middle order of 49 with Rishi Patel, Budinger and Peter Hanscom all in the 20s. Joe Leach and Mathwaite again, pick of the bowlers, 5 for 41 for Leach, 4 for 21 for all-rounder Waite, who both of them had an excellent game of the ball. This then set up that 271 run target that, based on the first innings, you're just assuming no chance they didn't get anywhere near it. But batting lineup battled through from a 2 for 2 start to get over the line, 7 down of 103.3 overs. Adam Ho's top scorer of 84, while skipper Brett D'Oliveira was there to see them home with a gritty unbeaten 41 off 137. Dig in. Gareth Roderick also batted very well for an equally gritty 59 off 221 deliveries at number 3. Wian Mulder 4 for 69 off 29 overs. Great spell for him, or multiple spells, should I say. And Josh Davey, good debut for him for Leicestershire, 3 for 61. 19-point win for Worcestershire, whilst Leicestershire, well, they're going to rue this one, I would suggest, take just 3 points from the encounter.
Yeah, Leicestershire not won since they beat Yorkshire on week 1, but have played some pretty decent cricket over that time. So really unlucky. I just expected Worcestershire to go out and get rolled here. We spoke about them time and time again on the podcast, going, the team's all right. Like, they're all right. They're workmanlike. But at times they'll produce moments like this, and it's quite incredible. The bowling attack's always held up by Joe Leach, who's got 450 plus wickets since his debut, and I think is about the 3rd or 4th most wickets in that time. Incredible performer, proper stalwart for them time and time again. Every time he's bowling, you can see his black pants coming out with his t-shirt up at the back. But just excellent performer. The one thing that struck me about when they got rolled, you see people get out in county championship cricket and they just walk off. What I saw when I saw Worcestershire getting rolled, hindsight looking back, was a lot of frustration. Like, they expect better of themselves, and they definitely went and did that. And coming back from 2 for 2, mate, in 1.5 overs is quite an incredible feat. And they've done it to the point where they're actually 2-2 and on 66 points. So there's a lot of symmetry going on there, but 3rd place in the table. We probably said they'll be 3rd or 4th. They'll win some games, they'll lose some games. The 2-2 with a lot of the guys not really performing. They've got the worst batting lineup statistically in the division. They're averaging 25.10. That's not good. That's not good. There's your analysis. That's not good compared to everyone else. The top 6 is averaging 26.71. That is 7 worse than Derbyshire, who's got the 2nd worst batting lineup. And as a league in Division 2, it's 36 is the average, and they are averaging 26.71, 14% worse than the matches that they played in. So the fact that they're 3rd is quite incredible. Yeah,
massive credit to Worcester for that 2nd innings. It took a lot of minerals, let's put it that way, to really battle back from that first innings. And it 103 overs to get there. I like that a lot. And 2 batters in particular properly said, no, over my dead body, we're going to get a win in this game. We need to make up some ground. So fair play to them. Right, final game, Rob. A slightly bizarre game here. Sussex versus Glamorgan at Hove. Ended in a draw. It just progressed to 1 solitary over in the 4th innings after Glamorgan battered relentlessly to put up an epic 737. Okay. This was after they was dismissed for just 123 in the first innings as well. A very, very strange game. Anyway, let's break it down. So in the first innings, England seamer Ollie Robinson did what Ollie Robinson does and took a lovely 4 for 29, whilst Aristides Carvelas took 3 for 30. Another good game for him. James Harris at number 10, top scored with 28 not out. In reply, the superstar Sussex batting card put up 481. Steve Smith finally got his front pad out of the way long enough to make a very nice 89 before he got triggered LBW once more. Quick one. Out, not out, Rob?
Out.
Gone. Got him. He was overshadowed, though, by a wonderful maiden first-class 100 by 19-year-old James Coles, who scored 138 off 223 balls after his 70 last week against Leicestershire. Another one to watch. Tom Haynes, back from injury, got 58, whilst Finn Hudson-Prentice scored 73. Michael Neser, 3 for 81. This is when things got weird. Glamorgan batted for a ridiculous 207.5 overs for their 7-3-7. That included 3 Centurions. Aussie Marnus Labuschagne got his second of the year with 138. Openers Eddie Byram 57 and Zain Ul Hassan 43 played well at the top. Skipper Kieran Carlson, though, top scored with an excellent 192, coming in at a fine 70 strike rate as well. Aussie bowler Michael Neser, though, he's had a really good start to the year, continues his fine form with the bat as well as bowling well, obviously. Third first-class 100, scoring 123 before being bowled somehow by a Steve Smith. Can I call it a moonball? Is that fair?
Yeah, Jeremy Snape-esque.
Exactly. Everyone else made starts apart from Sam Northeast, though, who will be gutted. He got a golden duck in an absolute run fest of an innings. Sorry, Sam. Sussex used 9 bowlers with Carvallis, Carson, Coles and Steve Smith all taking 2 wickets. This meant there was a target of 380, but literally only 1 over was battered to close out of the game. Glamorgan, 7 points. Second place, Sussex take 11 from this one. I'll let you talk about the game, and then we just need to talk about Ollie Robinson briefly before we move on to the table.
I think Nessa deserves some love here. 311 runs at an average of 51 this year, 250s, 1 century, strike rate of 57. He's done this batting at 8 and 9, and he's been consistent across both months. Average 46 in April, 55 in May. He's averaging 16.68 better than the match top 6 average, and he's played in games that's had Steve Smith, Pujara, Marnus, Labuschagne. That's how good he has been. And you add to that the fact that he's taken 19 wickets at 25 in that time, an average of 25.63, 8.22 less than the match average for bowlers in those games. That's possibly the best all-round performance you've seen in a long time in County Championship cricket. James Coles with a cracking knock, young all-rounder, one to watch, only 19 years old. Made his debut at 16. I think he's the youngest Sussex debutant of all time. And when he made his debut, it was Bob Willis Trophy COVID. I don't know why COVID gets little air marks going on, because it was COVID. But picked up the wickets of Rory Burns, Ben Foakes and Jamie Smith in that spell. So definitely one to watch for the future. Sussex have got a knack for really helping to produce and help along the production line. They've got these great young players that come through. And Sussex, incredibly... they can't really buy a win. They won week 1, but they've drew the last 5 games straight. But they're doing it in such a manner that they're maximising batting points and quite often maximising bowling points as well, particularly with Ollie Robinson in effect. Find themselves 76 points in second place, mate. When we come back after the break, go to play Worcestershire. So there's every chance they can go and do it. It was nice to see Steve Smith score some runs, but 3 LBW decisions... 2, 1 definitely not out. 1 I thought was out, and the one in the middle was probably umpire's call. So I'm all about, don't let him get 2 in.
Absolutely not. I mean, look, you said the second one wasn't out. Well, it was actually. So I'm just going to be pedantic about it. The umpire's scorebook, mate. With a finger, exactly. But it was good to see him score some runs. And like we said when there was all the talk about him joining, there was nothing but good can come from this. These young players are learning off Pujara. They're now learning off Steve Smith. You've got so many young players. Another county, if it was a bunch of 30-year-old, I wouldn't have been, batters. I wouldn't have been that interested in it. But because it was Sussex and the amount of young players, Ali Orr, Tom Haynes, James Coles, I mean, Allsop's 27-ish. There's so many good players that can learn so much. And it's not like we said, it's not like he's going to get the secret sauce, is he? Or, the Colonel's recipe or whatever the way you want to put it to the secret of county championship scoring runs, England scoring runs. We'll see when it comes to the test game. We've got bowlers good enough to get him out. He's had a bit of a knock. That's what teams used to do. They used to have a bit of a knock, play a few games, didn't they? So what's the difference? Good to see. Let's have a look at the table there. Oh, Ollie Robinson, before we go. Yeah, so Ollie Robinson was seen with a boot on his foot. And I don't mean a cricket boot. It was on a crutch and a boot. He should have a scan on his left ankle yesterday that it was reported. Not heard any update yet. We're recording this on Tuesday morning. He reported discomfort on Friday after bowling 9 overs. He did then return on Saturday morning and bowled another 8, but then left the field before lunch and did not return. Hopefully this is all just very precautionary. But after Jofra Archer being reported he's going to be out for the summer, Ollie Stone, he wasn't named in the England squad because he's got a hamstring injury. He might have been close. He's out for 5 or 6 weeks. Now Ollie Robinson is a question mark. Fingers crossed he's not going to miss any time. But we're starting to get through the bowlers a little bit here, Rob. Good to see Matty Potts performing really, really well so far this year. Craig Overton's starting to perform as well. Wokes is in the squad. Just looking a little bit thin.
We are. I saw a great thread on Twitter. I think I retweeted the thread. But it was basically a long list of 30, 40 things that will be said and happen during the English summer. And one of them was England's injuries with the bowlers are that bad that Jimmy Anderson bowls the fastest ball for an Englishman this summer. And he's not wrong, because Anderson can still bowl like 84, 85 mile an hour. He kind of settles in about 81, 82. But I'm plenty sure there's plenty of gas in the tank. But it is a concern, because Ashes time, you need your best bowlers. Whenever you come in, and I'm not saying anyone is this, but if you go overseas and you take a Boyd Rankin who breaks down in the first over, like, you're putting yourself at such a disadvantage. So we really need Wood, Broad, Anderson, Robinson firing, because they're the best bowling attack we've got. We know we're going to be without Archer for quite a long time, which is a real shame. But everyone else should follow on from them. If you get in the position where we're in the West Indies, when we had Wokes and Overton opening the bowling for us, the Ashes could be, and it's nothing against those guys. They're just not the best bowlers in the country to play against the best Australian team. That's what it comes down to. I love Wokes, great first, second change bowler. Overton, not quite made it at Test cricket, but could be a first, second change bowler. But you want your best bowlers playing against the best players. That's what makes the Ashes special.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So fingers crossed, nothing too serious for Ollie Robinson. So as we know, Durham are well clear at the top of the table. Sussex in second on 76. Worcester 10 points beyond on 66, as are Glamorgan. Leicestershire 63. Gloucestershire 42. Derbyshire 37. And Yorkshire still bottom on 33. Gloucestershire, Derbyshire and Yorkshire all without a win. Derbyshire and Yorkshire have only played 5, though everyone else has played 6. Next red ball action, Rob, is going to be a 3-day warm-up game for Ireland against Essex starting May the 26th. So a bit of red ball in amongst the T20. Obviously, there's going to be a test match then, England against Ireland, following June the 1st. Shortly after, it's all coming now, Rob. The summer's warming up. Aussies take on India in the World Test Championship final at the Oval on the 7th of June. County Championship then returns Sunday the 11th for a round in amongst the T20 Blast, as we said. All but 2 teams will be playing in that round. And then the first Ashes Test, 16th of June at Edgbaston. It's getting close, Rob.
We're getting into the good stuff. I do want to leave you on this point, and I do want to take a little jab, because in my head I went, Yorkshire are bottom, Derbyshire's second. Weren't they the 2 teams that everyone thought would get promoted this year? And so I just pulled up my notes. And the Cricketer magazine has Yorkshire and Derbyshire 1 and 2, Leicestershire and Durham 7 and 8.
Wow.
And I looked at Rich's column, which has got Derbyshire and Yorkshire 1 and 2, currently 7th and 8th, Durham in 7th. I was like, that's very interesting. I just wanted to leave you on that point.
And what was Rob's prediction?
Mine aren't on there. We don't really need to talk about it. It is funny when you kind of get stuck into it and you kind of work out where things are going. I did have Northants and Kent, who were 9th and 10th in the table, as the bottom 2 in Division 1. So I've nailed that down. But I had Essex 1, Lancashire 2. That's not quite working out for me.
Absolutely not. We didn't say we were ever good at predictions.
No, exactly. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We're going to be back. We've just done our middle order podcast, England middle orders top 10. Next one we're recording is
Wicket
Keepers, and we're also releasing a podcast with our county championship team of the season so far for the first period out of the 17 different stop-start points we've got from the season. So there's plenty of podcasts to look forward to. We'll see you guys